nights are awesome, aren't they? Aren't you having fun watching two great wrestling shows on TV? We're talking about them right now. What's going on, everybody? I'm Kevin Kellam, coming to you for WrestleZone.com with your live Wednesday night WARZONE. AEW in Charlottesville. WWE down in Full Sail in Orlando. It was something else. Robert, maybe my co-host Robert DeFelice, maybe your hand's getting a little tired there, holding up the metal horns for like a solid 2 minutes. A little bit of too sweet.
I think I'm just gonna hold my two fingers up here like this all night long, because what I understand is by the end of the night, whether it was AEW or NXT, the wrestling world has learned Bullet Club is real, Kevin. It is real. Let's run this down. Cody Rhodes, Prince Devitt, the OC, you got AJ, Gallows, Anderson, Kenny and the Elite, Young Bucks. Everybody from Bullet Club is running wrestling right now. That is not
can't deny
disputed.
it. Cannot deny it. It was quite a night on both channels. AEW on TNT, WWE NXT over on USA. Odd little change this year before we both get into both shows. Last week, NXT had an encore before they aired live, and then a post show. They did a rerun. Didn't get that tonight, and also didn't get a rerun of AEW tonight. So they both went live, and that's what you get. Obviously, people can DVR it and watch it later on, and clips and social media and all that have views. But instant reactions. If you're joining us tonight, share the link, pass it on. If you let us know what you think, if you're watching us later on demand, you can still jump into the comments below. If you're with us on YouTube, give it a go old thumbs up and jump into the comments. We'll jump in there as well. No matter where you're taking it in. If you're in the audio podcast side, 5 stars, rate, review, smash that like button, all that good stuff. Let's get into it. Let's
just jump right into it, Kevin.
Let's get into it.
Let's just jump right into it.
I like the format we're going with, where we say what's good, we say what's bad, and we give our rating. That's what we do with Raw. Now we're going to do it with 2 shows. Let's get into the good, because there was quite a bit of good. Let's start with AEW. You were on full-time duty for that, given the results. They're up now at WrestleZone.com. What did you think of AEW? This is their first time using TV to build to a pay-per-view this Saturday in Baltimore. They're going to partner up with StarCast. We got to talk to Arn Anderson about this big match, Cody and Jericho, the big selling point of the show. But there's a lot of other stuff that they really got over tonight, too.
All right, let's start with the Cody announcement. Cody's announcement was, listen, I hear the criticisms. I know Bill Watts. I know Eddie Graham. And yes, I know Dusty Rhodes. Mm-hmm. I know what it's like to be in management and be placed at the top of the card. Therefore, if I do not beat Chris Jericho at Full Gear, I will never challenge for the AEW World Championship again. That's a hefty price to pay and to stick to. Mm-hmm. I think Cody Rhodes delivered an impassioned speech. He got very emotional when talking about, this is for my dad, this is for my brothers, this is my mothers, my sisters. He called Chris Jericho a stupid dick. And then the audience really latched on to that term, stupid dick. JR put him over as a good talker, just like his father. I think AEW is at their best when Cody's at the helm, because Cody delivers character development, which is maybe not seen throughout the rest of the show. I enjoyed Cody's promo. I enjoyed the Chris Jericho spoof vignette, which featured Virgil.
It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Him using different people to put him over. Miss Bobski. Clint Bobski was a character he used when he did Southpaw Regional Wrestling skits with WWE. And it was really, really funny, because it spoofed basically a similar video they did with Brandy Rhodes and Cody Rhodes, where Cody was just very consumed by running AEW and very driven to get into this match. And they played Sammy as if she was Brandy, and he kissed her on the head. He kissed Sammy on the head and walked away. And it was just, they did all these different things. And they had Virgil talk about how Jericho, his talent is like Olive Garden breadsticks, because there's something with Virgil and Olive Garden, and that he's unlimited. And then they had the old lady that was Chris Jericho's mom's aunt's friend from church.
Who simply said, if I'm Cody Rhodes, I'm praying that he doesn't beat the shit out of me. And it's just like, wow. They got, listen, I'll give them credit. I don't always like a lot of the ha-ha in modern wrestling. They got me from, okay, this is stupid, to laughing very quickly. And I give them a lot of credit. I think that also deserves to be in the good category for tonight. Also in the good category for tonight, and maybe the best thing of the whole show, that ending, Kevin.
Wild. Just a wild chaotic ending. I thought the ending brawl with all the big matchups, you had the tag teams, Young Bucks, Santornitis, they got into it. You got to see, of course, Jericho and Cody get into it, and Jericho take the Crossroads. And that happened. We saw Mox get into it with Kenny Omega, and this is after the main event, which was Hangman Page and Kenny Omega versus Jericho and Sammy Guevara. The post-show brawl really was more exciting than the main event, which maybe that's okay.
Which is fine.
Yeah, which it's service. They're building to a pay-per-view. That's most important.
This was a very Attitude Era style. They served a lot of masters in about 3 minutes.
Yes.
They had Pac come down, kick Hangman in the groin, leading to the Judas effect. Cody runs down, gets Jericho first. Then Moxley comes out, and Cody's just standing there. So Jericho comes back, grabs Cody with Jake Hager. MJF is out. He's brawling with Hager. You think for a minute you're going to get this Moxley Omega thing. And then Santana and Ortiz just come out and start beating them up, which leads to the Young Bucks. Moxley got his hands on Proud and Powerful. A lot of things going on in that main event, but you know what? It really felt
short period of time. Did you think it was too much, or I thought it was fine?
I thought it was perfect
because you already know these matches already. Like, these are all matches that they've made for the show, and it also showed off the power of the card they have. Like, you and I were concerned maybe they're just selling the Cody Jericho match. Like, that's the one that seems to have the most spotlight on it. But this final segment really made you feel like it's Inner Circle versus Elite. There's 2 battle lines. There's 2 sides in this. And you're really passionate about one side, and you're really passionate about another. And it delivered. It was really, really fun. It was dynamite.
Good for you. I do want to draw back one thing from that Cody promo. He threw out a very quick tease. He said, and one day we're going to meet the Elite in the Inner Circle, and it's going to be a match beyond.
Yeah,
and if you're any
War Games match, he was going for it.
Yeah, and if you're any kind of historian, you know that War Games used to be called War Games: The Match Beyond. Cody does want to buy War Games from WWE. Fat chance they're selling it. It's not happening, but you can build off of this Match Beyond terminology and create your own War Games style of match.
Yeah, they're probably gonna call it Match Beyond, and like that's they're gonna go with a term, that's like that. I got interrupted recording this, but I'll just get the audio later. Whatever, no big deal. I think there was a lot of hints and different things like this. I do appreciate the avoidance of Cody to not directly take another shot at WWE in a big promo here. He focused on Jericho. He focused on his opponent. I really laughed when I heard you can buy Chris Jericho's book Lionheart on Amazon
for $3
or at a flea market. I thought that was kind of a funny jab. A lot of good talking tonight. A lot of good promos. I also enjoyed the opening match of Pac versus Trent Beretta, making Pac look like a real bastard, which is the point they're going for, and beating up his opponent after already forcing him to tap out. That was something there.
Yeah, I don't want to gloss over this. There was a really weird... Somebody miscued on the pinfall because Beretta was out and Bryce Remsburg just stopped, and it kind of forced everybody to go, "What are you doing? Okay, just put me in the submission." Tap, tap, tap.
So that happened. That I was going to say that match was good until that happened. And then we get Private Party versus the Dark Order. Private Party now earn a title shot this weekend. That match was good. I enjoyed the Gin and Juice finisher. Beyond that, though, just not feeling the Dark Order. They're the one act.
Oh, they suck.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say they suck. I would say the character. It's a really cool character. The idea of like having your own little goon squad of people to like sit with. It's really cool, but there's just something in the execution that just isn't making me want to see more of it.
Well, now hold on. When I said they suck, I don't mean like they're bad and they're fine.
No, they're great wrestlers.
The character that they're going for, it doesn't click. It doesn't work. There's something very flawed in the execution of that, and it just comes off looking low rent. And it's one of the very few things AEW has that comes across as low rent. And I think
we'll get into the bad stuff on both AEW and NXT. We do the good first, right? Yeah. So AEW really set the table strong for this pay-per-view on Saturday. Do you think they did? Do you think they sold you on Full Gear?
I'm no more excited now than I was going into it, but I think that they really established stakes.
Yeah.
And for some fans who might have been on the fence, I think this really puts you over the top. And you know that Omega and Moxley are going to close it now. They made that clear, lights out. That means the regular card is going to finish, and Omega and Moxley are going to close. And I'm going to put them on the spot right now. This is Kenny Omega's last shot at a 5-star, 7-star, whatever you want to call it, Kenny Omega Classic for the year, because he hasn't had it yet.
He hasn't had the great match that he had.
He has not had the great match yet.
Okay. And Moxley has something to prove here as well. So certainly entertaining, certainly engaged. I'm more into Full Gear than I was this afternoon. How about that? They got me. I'm hooked. I really feel like there's this, the battle lines are drawn really, really big. I think NXT did that as well. Let's get into NXT. Before we say what show was better, NXT had a hot night. Full Sail was loud. The crowd felt louder than they felt last week. They felt loud since they started. I think they've done a much better job of the way they shoot the crowd. The production elements were really good. And what about the curveball of the OC attacking the Undisputed Era before the show even starts? And you get to see it on social media first, and then boom, minutes later they're on TV. They did it in their tease-in during the final segment. They had, I believe it was Law and Order SVU was on before. And they do the cutaway, say, hey, don't go anywhere in 5 or 10 minutes. WWE NXT live from Fulls. And then, boom, they just showed it to you right away. So what just happened backstage? We're going to tell you. NXT starts next on USA, right? Very good tease. Very good tease. I had the 2 screens up. I turned it on literally as it was happening. I was like, oh, we're getting the OC on television. We're getting the OC, the AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson, the Bullet Club of WWE, in NXT for that hardcore internet wrestling audience. I liked it. I thought it was cool. They opened up the show. They cut a promo. Main event set, Tommaso Ciampa, Big Keith Lee, and Matt Riddle. And this main event delivered. It was a great match. I thought Luke Gallows looked the best he's looked in a WWE ring in a long, long time. I thought Carl Anderson looked awesome. I thought AJ Styles looked like a big star. I thought Matt Riddle felt cool. That hot tag he got, the crowd went ape. Damn, Keith Lee has to be the best working big man in professional wrestling right now.
Maybe in professional wrestling history.
And that crowd just loves Tommaso Ciampa. That Daddy's Home chant is really, really cool. I thought there was just, everyone was over. And they did the big fracas ending, and Adam Cole came out, and they did the big brawl, and then Finn Balor came out, and he teased maybe getting back with his Biz Cliz bros, right? With the 2-sweep, but he did the finger guns, you don't know. And then Adam Cole blasted him before he could hit the Styles Clash. No contest finish, but I don't care. It made me care so much. A lot of selling here from Mauro Ranallo about Survivor Series weekend, because you're getting TakeOver the night before Survivor Series. And then obviously NXT talent can be heavily featured the next night on Survivor Series. So selling the whole weekend as a package. I'm liking that. People saying that WWE pay-per-views are too long. If you start to get in the idea of it being a 2-night thing, you got to watch it over 2 nights. I'm liking that. New Japan's doing it with Wrestle Kingdom. I was enjoying them heavily emphasizing Survivor Series weekend, which we've already gotten. We've gotten those in a long, long time. But now that NXT is being risen to the same level as SmackDown and Raw, and WWE saying, hey, this is a great line. Loved it. One of my favorite lines of the night when AJ Styles said, oh, we're here on NXT. This is what you guys got. This is the best you got. Tommaso Ciampa says, everyone asks me when I'm going to the main roster. And my thing I got to say to you, AJ Styles, is welcome to the main roster. I thought that was, that was really cool. Good little phrasing. I liked it.
And you got them right there. Like, immediately, okay, NXT is, if they're not directly on par, they're viewed in the same lighting.
Mm-hmm. It was a really, really strong show overall. I did think the Santana Guerra Conti match was light. Didn't do any favors for either woman. But if that's the baddest thing I can say about it, we'll get into all of it. But overall, really, really strong show. Angel Garza is one heck of a heel. Just a good, cocky smartass. He defeats Tony Nese to become the #1 contender for the WWE NXT Cruiserweight Championship. That match will go down next week. Really, really strong match. Loved Tony Nese power bombing a pair of pants. Angel Garza whips off his pants in his match on the top rope, and he picked them up and he power bombed the pants. He just like, I don't care about your pants. It was.
I think that's the second time the pants have seen action. It just continues. R-Truth is going to put them on, and it's going to result in the pants becoming 24/7 champions somehow.
It was a pretty fun match. I really, really enjoyed it. I also loved Dijak versus Swerve. Donovan Dijak going over Swerve. Very competitive, back and forth finish. You did see him kick out of the claw bomb, but one more and it did the deal. Made Dijak look really good. He needed to have a singles win after these past few weeks of being in a triple threat and all this different stuff. He needed the highlight on him. Pete Dunne got the win and tapped out Punishment Martinez, now known as the Archer of Infamy in WWE. This is a back and forth win. This is 50-50 booking, but the match was so darn good. I didn't care. It went back and forth, and Killian Dane got in the mix. You want to see those guys as a triple threat at TakeOver?
Possibly. I'm wondering if they go the other way now and do like Cole Ciampa and you don't do a men's War Games, because the women's War Games match is set. Like, that is a banger of a match. That's history in the making. It's a good reason to watch the show. And if you do Cole versus Ciampa with the idea that, okay, now the winner of this has the stakes of you're going to Survivor Series tomorrow to represent NXT in a major match, that's maybe something we can work with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, once again, continue to sound off. Get your comments on screen with us here live as we are coming to you from the NBC Tower. I'm Kevin Kellam, and that is Robert DeFelice. If you're just joining us in the middle of the show, the housekeeping, whatever. We're talking NXT, the good stuff. Another good thing, you mentioned the women's War Games match. We got Dakota Kai versus Shayna Baszler. What a scrappy war this was. This was a mean, gnarly match. Broke down into a big brawl at the end, setting the stage for the first women's War Games match. And it seems like Dakota Kai, who lost her match to Shayna Baszler and all that fracas, is cut. Rhea Ripley telling her backstage, you've been cut. Mia Yim came out here and saved our asses with that kendo stick. We got to have her in that War Games match. And you lost your match. You're out. Where do you think that leads to? Does she turn on Rhea Ripley's team later on? I liked it. It was a compelling swerve on that, for lack of a better phrase. Just a good little add-on there.
Good day-long booking. This actually began on the bump on YouTube this morning, where they announced some of the team members, and Shayna's goading Rhea, like, go ahead, pick Dakota. She's a wasted pick. You already know you're going to pick her. And then Rhea's like, I don't know. She's improving herself. So maybe she can prove herself against you tonight. Now it seems that they've done this. There's a ladder match next week. If I was a betting man, I say Dakota knocks them both off the ladder and takes down whatever is hanging above the ring and says, you have to put me in this match.
All right. So tell me exactly which teams are on who. We have Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai on their team.
And Bianca Belair.
Okay.
Going against Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Mia Yim, and Tegan Nox.
Okay, so that's a solid match. Inside a cage, too. 2 rings.
So this is what we know.
Mm-hmm.
Shayna has said, I will not put Marina and Jessamine in this match because I've seen enough of these to know you need friends on the outside as well as the inside.
So they're going to be involved.
With Dakota Kai being the odd woman out, does Dakota Kai jump ship?
Ooh, it's interesting. Does she turn on her sisters?
Does she turn? And I mean, Dakota's very bubbly. It's hard to picture that as a heel, but she is the odd woman out. If she shows a mean streak, maybe Shayna Baszler says, I want you on my side.
All right, let's get into the bad. What was the bad of AEW tonight? And then we'll do the bad of NXT. We do the good, we do the bad, and we give the rating.
I'm not bad, but indifferent towards this thing with Joey Janela and Shawn Spears. I swear, and I put this in the report on WrestleZone.com, Joey Janela, when saving Brandon Cutler from a Shawn Spears attack, called Tully Blanchard an old cuck. Kind of just continuing this weird trend in wrestling where they're just obsessed with this, but you know,
it is like search terms. That's what it is.
I guess. I mean, I like the idea of Janela fighting with a veteran, seeing as Janela gets everybody's blood boiling on the old school side. The women's match, guys, I love women's wrestling. I do. The women's match is not good. And
let's get into this. This women's tag team match, it featured Emi Sakura, who is going to challenge Rhea for the AEW Women's Championship this Saturday at Full Gear, their big pay-per-view. What issue with this, though, is Emi not aware of what the crowd is saying? They're booing her because she's going up against Rhea, and AEW fans love Rhea, right? She's the beloved princess of the AEW Women's Division. She has the title. And she goes out there, and the problem with it is she's trying to work like a babyface clap your hands type thing while getting booed, and it just didn't connect at all.
Well, it was less popular. She does this. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. She got a character. This Freddie Mercury thing, it works for me.
It looks cool. It looks really neat, but it's a babyface gimmick on somebody that the crowd's booing. Like, pivot. Play to what the crowd's giving you here.
So I'm going to go a little in the woods here and say I continue to be unimpressed by their women's division. Like, every time they have a women's match on a pay-per-view, everybody's like, that was so good, that was awesome. And it doesn't click together for me. Mm-hmm. And this is a full bet on the relationship you have with the Joshi, with this Emi Sakura and Riho match at the pay-per-view. I kind of feel like there's a built-in story if you just given it to Britt Baker and have Britt Baker and Bea Priestley be the title match. I get you want to put over the fact that you're working with the Joshi and you think it's this great investment, but kind of introduce them first and then start giving them championships. You don't start the division with this person, even though you're trying to get her over like she's 96 for Mysterio, and I get it, but for me, it's not working. And that's not saying that she's bad in the ring. I think Riho is great in the ring. I just think that there are more characters that would connect with an audience more.
This is an issue I saw all throughout the night. Now, mind you, I'm watching both shows, okay? There was a lot of people on AEW's television screen without defined characters.
Yes.
They're like, and the characters that were defined, some of them didn't click. We mentioned the Dark Order, and I already talked about how I don't think the character works. It is a character, but I don't think it's clicking. So you have a character there. Private Party are a wonderful tag team. If they want to make these guys tag team champions on Saturday, I don't see it happening. I see SEU having a longer title reign. But if they want to do it, you could believe it. They're cool. They're fun. They have an exciting moveset. They have a really cool entrance. You like the way they present themselves. It's over. It's connecting with fans. People are into it. You know, you have people like holding up the cups and stuff like that. They're the party tag team. Nothing wrong with that.
I'll say it. They should win the belt.
Is you have a group of women, and this isn't just, they're Japanese. You have a group of women, you put them all in one pocket. I mentioned earlier in this today, it feels like 205 Live when no one's connecting. You know, where they're talented, they're cool, but I don't know why I'm supposed to care. And,
exactly.
And then on top of it, the characters that you do care about in the women's division for AEW are not on television this week. No Britt Baker, no B. Priestley. That's an angle. That's an angle that people want to see some resolution to that they haven't gotten.
And I'll go a step further. We know that they're set for the pay-per-view, B. Priestley and Britt Baker. I don't know if they're set for the buy-in or for the pay-per-view itself, but they're set for it. And they delivered a promo vignette through social media, and everybody just went, why hasn't this been presented this way on TV? So I get that they're trying to serve a lot of masters really quickly. And this is across both sides, the men and the women.
Yeah.
But you need to bunker down.
Yeah, there was so much good stuff on AEW tonight, but the bad stuff tonight felt very glaring. This is the first time where I'm watching it. I'm just like, oh, man. Like, it wasn't like awful, but it was definitely like, that's a mistake. And mind you, you can double judge anything. Like, people could watch us do the show and they're like, why didn't they talk about this? I saw some stuff that didn't click. Brandon Cutler is a fine lower card babyface guy to work with. Sean Spears is a very, very fun wrestler. They did not have a working dynamic tonight. It didn't click. We keep saying,
wasn't that mostly a squash match in favor of?
It was mostly a squash match. So you're going to have squash matches on TV, but the problem is then you've put so many matches on AEW television that job matches, for lack of a better phrase, are not something your crowd is going to care about. They're not going to care about the guy who wins a job match when all the matches are supposed to be bangers and you don't know who's going to win the match. Every single AEW match, you don't know who's going to win the match. They've created that expectation. Like that private party Dark Order match earlier in the night. You got to follow stuff. Sometimes you got to bring the crowd down to continue to tell storylines. And that is something that AEW has to figure out to do week-to-week television. You can't have every single match feel like a pay-per-view match. This is the first night where it felt like we're building to a pay-per-view and this is TV. Like, it felt...
And as such, several people came off looking less than for the first time.
Yeah, and this is the first time I've watched AEW where someone didn't look like a star. Some people didn't look like... Sean Spears, even with Tully Blanchard, didn't feel like a star.
That is inherently the problem with the idea of hotshotting. When you hotshot everything, when you listen, I'm going to just say, when you put Joey Janela and Kenny Omega in like a 30-minute hardcore war for free on YouTube, things are going to feel lackluster when he just comes out and chases away Sean Spears. Are you telling a story? Yeah, but again, I think AEW needs to find its identity and not just grab pieces from its key players and try to mash that into a singular identity, but create a singular identity and work around it. Cody and Jericho are the only two that know how to tell a story, and that's just because they've been in WWE for decades, and nobody wants to talk about that because that's praising WWE and the WWE system.
Yeah. The bad of NXT. There were a couple of things that were good. I mentioned the Santana Garrett Conti match. Didn't do any of them any favors. It was short, shouldn't have gone long, and it didn't feel like Santana Garrett, who has been around wrestling for a long, long time. It didn't look. There was some clunkiness in the match that was apparent, and it was odd. Sometimes people don't have a good match, but this is the type where the pressure is on. You're head to head with another company. You can't have a soft match head to head. So that was obvious there. Otherwise, there wasn't much bad on NXT that made me think like, oh, this is an off show, or oh, this isn't working. I enjoyed the brawling segments. We saw that on both shows, but it felt really good. There are some things I want to see that I'm just not seeing yet, and that's not that feels like in the short term a bothersome issue. I want to see Finn Balor have a match on TV. We haven't seen him do a match in WWE NXT, and you want to have him out there and you just want to have him come out and walk out and do that thing, that's okay. I didn't see any development between him and Gargano. It felt like we were getting a Johnny Gargano match.
Where's Gargano?
Where is Gargano? A bad thing, but not a hugely bad thing. But you can file it in what was bad tonight on NXT. Overall, though, let's give the rating. What do you think? You got to see AEW. I know you didn't get to see NXT, so it's hard to ask you for a rating for that. But tell me what you rate tonight's episode of AEW out of 10. 1 to 10.
I'm going to be a little critical. 6.5.
Ooh, that would be your lowest one you've given it so far, Robert. You're not handing out the stars tonight.
And I gotta tell you, it's not great because it's the first time I've watched the show in one shot, full way through, and I'm giving it a 6.5 because it exposed the overall issues with the brand so far, and that's we have a lot of good wrestlers, and you just need to trust me that we have a lot of good wrestlers, and they're cool, and just wait, we're going to deliver something cool.
Some people disagree with me. Johnny Yu saying that Cutler and Spears had a solid match. It sets up Spears versus Janela. It wasn't supposed to be a barn burner with Cutler. The problem is, I'm not saying it's not supposed to be that. It's a functional match to get to a storyline, and that makes sense in the regular building blocks of professional wrestling. A match to build to another big match with someone who isn't in that match specifically. But the thing is, AEW hasn't conditioned you to do that. They condition you that every single match is a banger. Every time you have the everything we do is an explosive dynamite match. So it felt like watching it was like, in the same way that we've gotten used to AEW is going to be in arena and NXT is going to be in Full Sail. At first, that was a problem. You had to get used to it. You had to be conditioned to it. This isn't something AEW's conditioned you to. So seeing a job match that was a flat out job match didn't make me feel like, okay, like that's, you got to build up stars, but you become a victim of what you've already established. Is that fair to say?
That is completely fair to say. And
all right. So 1 out of 10. I haven't given my rating. You gave AEW a 6.5 out of 10. It still sold you on the pay-per-view here. Let's see what people think here. William T. Wages is saying AEW gets a 7. NXT gets a 7.5. All right. NXT getting an edge here. Getting an edge. Once again, this is an informal poll here. Sean Smith saying NXT gets a 10 out of 10. Bay.
Hold on. You're saying it's an informal poll. No. This is the only poll that matters. This is the daily. Okay, this is the poll
that matters. All right. We have the poll of polls. All right. This is a poll that on the top of the poll. On the top of the poll is this poll. All right. That anyone wants. Anyone could put this on a poll. You could have a match of all the polls of fans, and this would be the match that you would want on there.
I'm begging for a Blue Chew sponsorship after that.
Blue Chew, if you're listening, we're getting people hard for polls. All right, they are voting, and they are voting all night long. All right, there we go. All right, yes. Blue Chew, are you watching? We want your dick pill money. Let's do it. Fun times. Yeah. Put the kids to bed. All right. There we go. Getting into it here. More ratings that people gave for both night shows, AEW and NXT. James Ross saying, I agree with Robert. It was a 6.5 for AEW. The worst show they've had so far. Mind you, comparatively, this is like they're bound to have.
These are still great shows compared to television shows just 3 years ago. Don't get me wrong.
And they just put together a month of incredible television. Their first month on air was great. The worst show they've had so far. This is, I would say, the first time they've had a show that felt.
But this is the problem. When the bar is set here, this is the problem because
you're competing not only with WWE, you're competing with the expectations you've already built up.
That's right. And wrestling right now is too good. You're bound to have moments like this.
Mm-hmm. You all are a bunch of Vince fans. You're fans of Vince. Who's Vince? Who is this Vince character?
I don't know.
We also have someone texting in saying, I'm not hard for polls. Okay. All right. That's okay. That's fine. But if you are, we welcome you to the party as well. Everyone is welcome here at the WrestleZone Virtual Cup. Yeah. We are the poll of polls.
What? Yeah. Did you say polls?
Wait, it's on a poll. So I don't know. Oh no. I was about to get ready for NXT AEW, but we've summoned the monster within Robert, the one, the only, the most wrestling booker, Vince Brusso.
Bro, Kevin, stop this friggin' nonsense. First of all, you're taking my damn gimmick, bro. with your polls nonsense. I invented polls back in the Attitude Era. You got Viagra on a pole. I did that. Let's do Blue Chew on a pole. Kevin, why haven't we done this? Kevin, I got to tell you, AEW, it was fine. It was good. Wild Brawl, I could have booked that in the Attitude Era. But there's no defined characters. Bro, where are the characters? I don't understand. All I see is a bunch of wannabe creative wrestlers not having characters. Bro, where are they? Ugh.
You all right? You all right, Robert? Are you back with us?
Kevin, what happened?
Vince Broso. So it was once again, the demon within you, Vince Broso, has possessed your soul. He's possessed your wrestling soul and came back there. So
I apologize. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, people enjoying the bro here. They're enjoying the bro. Yes, James Espandolfo saying you damn marks with a Z. So what did I think? AEW, I got to see it. I agree with you. It was the first time I felt like it stepped down below that 7-point marker. Even though they had a fantastic finish, they had really cool promos. I really thought the bell-to-bell in-ring wrestling just didn't feel as dynamite as it has in the past weeks. Though it was very, very fun. I give it a 7.5. But I give NXT a solid 8.5. I thought this was great. I thought overall NXT didn't have the best matches they've had on NXT since they've been on USA Network, but they had the best storyline development where AJ Styles and the best tag team in the world, Anderson and Gallows, on NXT was just an add-on to an already swirling pool. The collective of NXT felt big. The women felt big. Every match felt like it had consequence and a compelling spin of the wheel to the next step. Even the Santana Conti match, though it was the only off thing of the night, overall, it was a very, very strong episode. It sold me on the pay-per-views coming up, Survivor Series and TakeOver. It sold me on them, and I just wish those pay-per-views were this weekend. That's how much I felt about the show. NXT, it takes the night. It was a more compelling show to me, though AEW put on another fun show. I just thought it eked it out enough. I'm giving a solid, just right there at an 8, right under an 8. I said 8.5. I'm just saying it was right under an 8, right under an 8. And then AEW, I'm going to give a solid 5, almost a 7. This many, a little bit of these guys. So I give it a 6.5. So AEW takes a little bit of an L tonight, but not too much. They're going to have a great pay-per-view. See, people are already mad at me about it. People are mad.
Because why? Because they put on a more compelling show. At some point, and you guys will realize this when the glitter and glam of the new company goes away, you're going to realize NXT is putting on the most consistent show in wrestling. And I'm talking Raw, SmackDown, AEW, anything. NXT is straight up consistent week to week.
And I think the consistency is what's paying off for them now. Like they already have an established base. They can play off their past, but you kind of know what you're going to getting. You know when they're going to kind of like give you a job squash match. It has that has the power of WWE conditioning. AEW doesn't have that. Like I keep bringing that up, but like when your expectations have to come down a little bit so we can get you up again. It's kind of true here. Other people chiming in here telling me Casey Rinaldi really hoping Dakota Kai doesn't turn heel. That would make me so sad. He'd be very, very sad if she turned heel. You know what would make me sad? If you don't share today's show. You got to pass on the link, baby. You got to spread the word. We got to get somebody on that virtual couch right next to us. Okay?
The virtual couch is here. It's here. You got me. You got Kevin. We're sitting on the virtual couch. But you know what, Kevin? Before we round this thing out and go on our merry way, we promised the devoted listeners and the ones on the podcast who, if you've listened to the daily and today's post show, the Warzone, I think it's time for some questions.
Oh, let's fire them off. Anything going on in the world of wrestling, fire
anything going on in the world of wrestling. Anything at all.
We're an open book. We've already have Robert's been possessed by a demonic wrestling booker.
I apologize. That happens. You've got to understand. I've got too much New York pizza grease running through my veins. It's this weird thing that just comes out. I'm sorry.
Well, that's the problem. It's New York pizza grease. Everyone knows that the Chicago pizza grease is so much better for you. It's good. It puts hair in your chest. All right, let's get into questions. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's bring them on. Bring them on here. A big question here. This one coming in. Big questions. Did NXT do enough to take the ratings from AEW? We're already getting into the ratings. We're already into ratings. What are the ratings like tomorrow? What are they going to be like tomorrow?
They're going to be pretty close to what they were last week.
I think so.
With probably a slight bump because the World Series is over.
I think NXT will have a little bit of a bump just because you got the more casual WWE fans got to see these NXT talents, and now WWE's making it clear this isn't just the developmental brand. We've put them on TV. Here they are. They're on television every week. You can watch it if you don't have the WWE network, or maybe you just watch the pay-per-views on the network. You just watch the big main roster stuff. And the language with Tommaso Ciampa was clear in that regard. And like I said, seen these guys on television a lot this week. Adam Cole's been he was standing tall at the end of every WWE television show this week. Somebody said for that. I think they'll have a little bit of a bump. I don't know how much, but I think the ratings will be about the same. I think AEW is still a fun, exciting new brand, and ratings wise, AEW will have a little bit more viewers tomorrow. All right, are you happy? That's the way I see the ratings being predicted. Do I mind being wrong tomorrow? No, but it'll be interesting to see how much, if NXT gets a bump at all.
I think I agree with you. Adam Cole was a star this week, and it will be interesting. I want to get into this question from Casey Rinaldi that says, do you guys want to see the OC as a third team in War Games? Now let's have a little fun with some fantasy booking.
Sure. Lay out the War Games match as it is now for the men on NXT. This is the Saturday night. This is the NXT TakeOver in Chicago. This will be on, I believe, the 23rd. Am I correct in that? The 23rd? The
23rd, because Sunday, yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy weekend for me. So I'm in Rockford on Friday night with a comedy show. I have to speak at a conference and be on air on radio on Saturday and then go to TakeOver. It's going to be crazy.
But it's going to be a fun night. And
fun night. Lay out the War Games match. My ADD is
the men's War Games match. I don't know if they've confirmed anything. The way it seems like it's going to be the Undisputed Era versus Ciampa, Riddle, and Lee, and somebody else. Mm-hmm. Now let's throw in this fantasy of the OC.
I like it. I don't think that's a bad idea. If you're gonna keep, it would be the first time. I don't think it's a bad thing. I see some people being like, no, the NXT TakeOver show should just be NXT guys, and don't do that. I'm okay with it in this regard.
I think you get away with it if it's AJ in particular.
And if it's the OC, it's awesome. You know what I mean?
But like, let's fantasy this a little bit. So you've got the Undisputed Era. Those are 4 dudes.
Yeah.
You've got Ciampa, Lee, and Riddle, and then you've got the OC. Now, Gargano could easily join Ciampa, Lee, and Riddle, and Balor could easily complete that original only official club that matters. What if you do 4 and 4 and 4? The babyface of NXT, the club, and the Undisputed Era. Would that not be something to immediately write home about?
All right. If you like Robert's idea, hit the like button. Okay. If you like Robert's idea, hit the like button. Robert, I like that idea. It's like what you just described is like when you see teenage girls in a movie and they're like, I want him to have Robert Pattinson's eyes. And then I want him to have Fabio's shoulders. And then I want him to have this person's abs. Like you just put all the pieces together, just like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger robot of fun. I liked it. I appreciate it.
I love that analogy. A Mighty Morphin Power Ranger of fun. It's a Megazoid of fun.
A Megazoid? A Megazoid?
Well, Megazoid.
The Megazoids are the off-brand Power Rangers. They're the Power Scouts. Then they have Megazoids. Let's get into it here. Sean Smith mentioning Lio Rush, 205 champion here. Do we see a Lio Rush retaining the title next week against Angel Garza? I think so.
Yeah, you want to make some money?
You want to make some money?
You want to make some money? How's Jordan Miles doing? Any update on that?
Because it's topic there, Robert.
That's some money. If you put Leo Rush in the ring with Jordan Miles,
yeah,
you just turned 2 negatives from this year into 2 massive positives, because those 2 will go out and tear it up. Do I see Leo Rush beating Angel Garza? Absolutely. I think Angel Garza is going to be an NXT guy for quite some time.
Here we go. Here's a question coming in. Big old Johnny U. Thank you for your long-term support, Johnny. Who has the better championship matches for their pay-per-view, Full Gear or War Games Survivor Series? Well, it's hard because it's a hard comparison because Survivor Series and War Games are going to be like 2 nights. So let's just compare NXT and what they have in comparison here. It doesn't look like the NXT championship is going to be on the line at TakeOver. So I can't really compare their titles here.
Well, if we compare, let's compare the one with the more matches that we know, and that would be Survivor Series. Survivor Series to Full Gear. I'm going to say Survivor Series is more attractive because it's more, what's this? And what's next?
If you're a sucker for championship matches, I think you're going to get a little bit more of that in Survivor Series over 2 nights. But if you just don't want WWE and AEW's got you and you want to see what they've done with Cody and Jericho and the payoff for that, you're going to get a good payoff here. I think you're going to get something of intrigue. They've added a lot of other things to the match that other people like that I don't like, but I can understand where people are really into them adding a panel of judges to the main event, something that wasn't mentioned tonight on television. If they go 60 minutes, a panel of judges could determine who wins the match. So you have the possibility of a tease of the match going the distance. You also have this addition of Cody saying if he doesn't win, he'll never challenge for the championship again because he's an executive of the company and he doesn't want to feel like he has a bias, right?
Now, is there a loophole here where Cody doesn't win but he doesn't lose? They go to a 60-minute draw.
Does that feel convoluted to you?
Yes.
It feels convoluted to me. And
I don't think that means that it stops them.
I don't want this to feel like I'm throwing Cody Rhodes under the bus, like using a word, something he said against him. I'm not. I'm using something he said against this story. Is that fair to say? When I set this up on the WrestleZone YouTube page, on our podcast feed, on this podcast, our very own Bill Pritchard interviewed Cody Rhodes just about 3 weeks ago in Philadelphia. Very, very successful time for them, and very, very successful time for them now. Royal Farms Arena, StarCast. It's gonna. If you're an AEW fan and you say WWE sucks with 2X, it sucks. I'm gonna put up that GIF of Chris Jericho saying "bad creative." Right? Yeah. If you're that fan, you are gonna be very, very satisfied this weekend. You're gonna have a great time, and I'm gonna have a great time watching all of this wrestling. I'm having a very, very fun time on Wednesdays. I wake up excited to go into work and watch wrestling. That's my job. It's fun. So, but I am digging into something that Cody said here. In the interview he did with us. I'm having fun with what he's laying out and where he's going. But he said something that we're not going to be reactionary with AEW. We're not going to react to what WWE is doing and try and do something to react to it. That is in complete conflict with this storyline. Because the storyline has a lot of fun comedy to it, which is fine. WWE has that too. So whatever, you can tell jokes. What's reactionary about it? The judges, the panel, the 60-minute thing. WWE had their Hell in a Cell finish. A lot of fans are very, very upset about it. We got more traffic at WrestleZone.com about that than we did maybe even WrestleMania, because people were so upset with it. It was a non-finish in a pay-per-view main event. And it was with a character that people really wanted to see win, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then AEW comes back and says, no matter what, you're going to, even if there isn't a dusty finish here, right? For lack of a better phrase, even if there is that, we will have a panel of judges decide who's our champion. You're still going to see a winner. No matter what, you're going to get a winner. So it lends itself to a lot of, but at the same time, it lends itself to a lot of crazy things possibly happening in this match. There's a lot of gaga here. There's a lot of gaga in the Cody Jericho match. It is a big selling point with two big personalities who are on fire cutting promos for this match. But their talent is overriding, in my eyes, convoluted storytelling overall. Jericho and Cody are outperforming the story they've been given or they've created for themselves. In this sense, because to me, why do we have the judges? It's going to create it creates an expectation of a weird finish.
It does, and I think that it also lends itself to this weird. Everything I'm doing is a love letter to my dad, which is fine.
Yeah, but there's people who love that though. People who really, really respond to that. They really,
at some
really
point, like that well is going to run dry.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to run dry real quick if you keep hammering it home as you have been.
A lot of people with different opinions here. Here's the thing. I think it's going to be a great show. I just worry, could this stuff become too much? You know, like I know I'm just doubting to doubt. I'm not. It's just like you're two over characters. Like these are two incredibly talented guys in a match together, which I feel feels so special. The match feels very, very special in that regard. But I just don't think it needs more. I was watching it and I was texting one of my friends about the show, and he's, I love this edition. It's really, really cool. I like it. And the judge element, the judges being added that could decide the match, they didn't talk about that tonight, right? That wasn't
weird for me.
And then they did mention that if Cody doesn't win this match, it feels like the story changed week to week. And that's the first time I've ever felt that with AEW, where they didn't have a straight line. Here it is. We're going to pound the nail on this for weeks and weeks and weeks and really get you amped up. And it's like, here we're going to pound this nail, and then we're going to go all the way over here and pound this nail. But
here's another thing. Is it too early to go to this well of, hey, it's like the first pay-per-view with TV, and Cody is already on top, and he's already saying, I'll never do this again. Like,
for me, for him to put the corporate authority figure type power on the line, way too early to do it. And I understand they want to create the validity of him winning the title as a big thing because the fans love Cody. They love what he's created for them. Like his character is, I'm the president of this company and I also fight in it, right? That's a great character. And people really respond to it. And they love that we're creating a revolution. We're giving you great matches. And look at all this great talent we have, right? And that is all real. And then you bring it into the storytelling. My problem with it is, as I said, it's getting a little bit too convoluted. You're writing back doors and saying, here's the back door we're writing for ourselves. You know, here it is this, here's this. And it's too much. You already have enough to make it incredible, right? You have Jericho and Cody cutting that line he did about the book being $3. Awesome. Cody cut an incredible promo. And the segment they had with Jericho was really, really cool. So it seems like I'm trying to like knock the match down. I'm not. I'm just concerned if this is how you want to build up to big matches. Because what happens when you have a really good story, but you don't have two stars that are nearly as talented as Cody and Jericho are about getting this thing over? This story is outperforming the storytelling they have to work with. I know I'm repeating myself here at this point.
And I'm gonna leave it on this because I know we're running short on time here. But they said they wouldn't be reactionary to WWE. But are they being reactionary, a little too reactionary to the vocal fan base? Where it's, why is Cody in this match when he's vice president? Okay, so we're immediately going to... Are you being a little too reactionary to the vocal minority?
They're like, are they listening to the internet a little bit too much? You know, like they're not taking it with a grain of salt.
Yes.
There's something to be said there. You can follow him on the Twitter at DeFelice. Very, very busy in the wrestling media world, aren't you, Robert?
Super busy. E-Wrestling News. Smart Out Moment. I really want you guys to go over to Smart Out Moment on YouTube and check out the 2001 Invasion fantasy booking video that we just put out. Myself, Kellam Wiggins, Tony Mango, we all rebooked the Invasion card. I booked about 3 because I love fantasy booking. Go check that out. I had a lot of fun doing it. Fightful.com, all joking aside, broke a lot of stories with this Saudi Arabian thing. They talked directly to Seth Rollins. That's the kind of crap you can't make up. Go check out Fightful.com. Go check out Fightful Select. Jeremy Lambert will be on hand for Full Gear, but I know Dominic D'Angelo is going to be on hand for Full Gear for WrestleZone. So the wrestling world has got you covered. And guess what, Kevin? You know where I am? I'm right in the middle of it, like that peanut butter in that sandwich. That's exactly where I am. That's exactly who I am.
Reese my piece.
That's right. That is right. And that's it for me. But Kevin,
man,
I think it's time we remind them of the thing.
Well, I have some things to plug as well.
Yes, you have to plug your comedy.
You're not the only one who gets to promote their stuff, Robert.
See, Kevin, the difference between me and Kevin is I just do wrestling. Kevin's a renaissance man of life and entertainment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pull Sean Ross Sapp's hand out of your ass for a second here. All right? A man.
He's mad
to attack me and spray paint Fightful on my back.
I would never.
One of these days, a challenge is going to be set. One of these days, a challenge is going to be set. This Friday night, Reggie's Rock Room in the South Loop of Chicago, just a short hop and a skip away from the home of the not-so-good Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. Not too far from there. Reggie's Rock Room. This Friday night, I will be there. And if you're a fan of the Howard Stern Show on SiriusXM, someone you know from that show is going to be there. Shuli Egar, very great comedian. You see him Monday through Friday on Howard 100 and Howard 101 on SiriusXM. He is a great comedian. He's going to be at Reggie's Rock Room, and I'm opening it up for him. It's going to be really, really cool. November 22nd, Friday, November 22nd, the Friday before Survivor Series, Rockford, Illinois, right outside of there, Loves Park. I'm going to be at the Pig's Mind Brewery, headlining, baby. December 14th, I will be at the Hobart Theater in Hobart, Indiana, with the final for unforgettable night of comedy at the Hobart Art Theater. You can follow me on Twitter at KevCelm. All my comedy dates are there as well. And you can also hear me online on the streaming apps that you have for radio, the iFart Radio, the Alexa, all of them, the Tune In. You can listen to 101 WKQX, the best alternative rock radio station in our fine nation. Robert, I got my plugs in, okay? See, I was considerate of you first. I let you go first. And then you pushed me for the sign-off before I could get into my plugs. Everyone, if you're angry with Robert forgetting about my plugs, can you please let him know about it on Twitter at DeFelice?
That's right.
And use the hashtag Kev has plugs too. All right, you can do that. You can hit him up on Twitter and definitely give him hell. Give him hell there. Thank you so much for supporting the show. A lot of tech issues. You guys have been with us through a tough period of time, and we're still trying to figure it out. We don't know what we're doing. We just know what we want to do. So
that's right.
There we go.
What we want to do is entertain you and remind you that when you're watching wrestling, doesn't matter if it's Raw, SmackDown, Power, NWA, NXT, Beyond, everything. You know what you got to do? You got to enjoy wrestling.
You're damn right.